lovely humans. How are you doing today? I'll say I'm doing great. Yeah, I think you get it, because the owl shirt and the mug and also and my owl. Yeah, okay, owl jokes. So yes, I'll say I am doing owlfully well. Alright, I will literally stop killing all of you. Yeah, I actually recently got this mug as a present, a late Christmas present. I love it. I think it's adorable. But today we are joined by Prince Nocturnia. I gave him a new name because I had him in another video and I called him Hootsie and I thought that was incredibly boring. So I changed it to Prince Nocturnia. I think it is much more regal and much more fitting of who he is. But what I want to talk to you all about today is toxic relationships. Not a very fun topic, but I do feel if we are going to truly live in a light place, in a positive state of mind, we need to address all of the topics, even the uncomfortable ones. And I want to talk about how to realize when you're in a toxic relationship and what to learn from it, and then how to make the decision to let that relationship go. Now, trust me, lovely humans, we've all been in these kinds of relationships, and I'm not only talking about romance here, I'm talking about any kind of toxic relationship. It could be a romance, it could be a friendship, it could even be a relationship with a family member, but I am speaking on a broad spectrum here today. So how do you know and how do you spot the signs if you're in a toxic relationship? Because here's the scary thing about them, we don't always realize it. But from my personal experience, I have a few telltale signs. The first sign that you may be in a toxic relationship and that you have to recognize it as such is think to yourself, are you changing any part of yourself for this other person? Now, you might be changing yourself without even realizing it. But ultimately, any kind of relationship that is healthy and full of love and that comes from a good, genuine place that's going to be good for both people has to be built upon honesty. And that means true acceptance of who the other person is. So if you feel or you notice that you feel like you're editing parts of yourself, holding back parts of yourself, or changing parts of yourself in front of this other person, that's not a very good relationship, and that's not something that should be going on. When we have good friendships, good romances, good connections with anybody, we want them to be based on something healthy. And there is nothing healthy about hiding parts of ourselves or changing parts of ourselves. And not only is it not healthy, but it's not honest. And in my opinion, I will talk about this in another relationship video that I'm thinking of doing closer to Valentine's Day. Honesty is the most important part of a relationship. And this whole thing I'm talking about is kind of a no-brainer anyway, because why would you want to hang out with someone and spend time with someone who doesn't accept you for who you are, or who only loves an edited version of yourself? It sounds pretty messed up when you think about it. So really try to recognize, lovely humans, if you feel that you are changing yourself for another person, or just simply holding back parts of yourself that you might feel ashamed of. You should never feel ashamed of any parts of yourselves, and your closest friends and loved ones should love every part, the good and the whatever society deems as bad. But the second step is realizing if the person you're in a relationship with or friendship with, etc., is trying to change you, because that happens as well. No two people that are meant to hang out together should ever try to impose the other's ideas onto the other person. That is equally as toxic and equally as much of a red flag as the first sign. If you feel that someone is trying to discourage you from being unique and liking your own things, or trying to push their own ideas onto you, or convert you into liking things that you don't really like, or acting a certain way that you don't naturally feel like you want to act, that's a toxic relationship. And it's not healthy. It's called editing the other person to be more fitting for you. Why would you edit that person to be more fitting for you when you could just go find someone else in the real world who is naturally more fitting for you? The funny thing about this whole toxic relationship thing is it all seems like it's all just a big no-brainer to me. Like, if something isn't working, why are you sticking around? But I'm not gonna be so tough as nails about it, guys, because I've been in lots of toxic relationships that I wanted to cling to because I was scared, because I did still care about the person even though we weren't right for each other. And I'm sure a lot of people do the same thing, and we've all been there. We all don't want to let go of things that are bad for us because it becomes something we're used to. But if someone is really trying to change you, that is unhealthy, because you're gonna not only lose your sense of self, but you could also be missing out on finding someone who would just accept you naturally right away. And that is so much more freeing and so much more based in a place of light. And finally, the third red flag or sign to see if you're in a toxic relationship is to think overall When you think of this person, when you think of spending time with them, when you're around them, how do they make you feel in general about your life and yourself? Do they make you feel inspired and happy and good about yourself and confident and excited to go after your dreams? Do they make you feel comfortable? Do they make you feel like you could really just let loose and tell them anything? Or when you think of them, do they make you anxious? Do they make you uncomfortable? Do they make you worry a lot before you see them? Do they make you feel afraid? Do they make you feel discouraged, bad about yourself, like you need to change? If they make you feel like point B, that is the final red flag, which should tell you that you should let go of that toxic relationship. So if your relationship or friendship, whatever it is, meets all of these red flags, how are you supposed to let it go? Because letting go is the hardest part. And the reason for that is because any relationship, even if it's a toxic one, involves emotions and memories and things we want to hold on to that we're afraid to let go of. And sometimes we hold on to those people for way longer than we should because our emotions are getting in the way. Emotions are very powerful. They're such a powerful thing that they many times overshadow our natural light energies and abilities to actually push through and do what we need to do for our souls. And when are emotions most heightened? When we're in a relationship or a close friendship. But the thing is, if it meets all those red flags, ultimately you are in a toxic relationship, and the best thing to do is to get that toxicity out of your life. And trust me, lovely humans, it's really hard. And sometimes it takes a really long time until you feel comfortable enough to do that. But sometimes it's the only thing that needs to be done. Because it's not like you're telling someone, listen, I don't like you, I think you suck, etc. It's more along the lines of, we don't work in each other's lives, we don't make each other better people, we don't care enough to try to, clearly, if it's not working, so we probably should just say goodbye. And sometimes that's the best thing to do. Now, dealing with the aftermath, dealing with missing the people, missing the toxic relationships, why would we miss a toxic relationship? Well, because of what I said, emotions and memories. And listen, guys, I am a people pleaser and I want everyone to like me and everyone to have a good opinion of me. I always talk about it in my videos, but I have finally accepted that not everyone is going to, and that's just like reality. That's just real life. And for a long time, I've kept a lot of toxic friendships and relationships in my life because I just felt that that was what was right for me, that was what that those people and my connections with them were so important. I couldn't let them go. But ultimately, they weren't healthy and my emotions were blinding me from that. So you need to separate what is actually right for you, what your soul needs from the emotions. And the way to do that is to first pick up on if the 3 red flags are there, and then sit and think with yourself, how in general does this person make me feel about myself and my life? And do I deserve to feel that way? Because if you don't feel uplifted, if you don't feel like you help each other and make each other better people, whether it's a friendship, family relationship, romantic relationship, go find another one. There's so many out there, and it's really not a big deal. Getting rid of toxic relationships is important for our mental health, our stability, our safety sometimes, and our ability to progress and continue to be better. So remember, lovely humans, there's nothing wrong with getting rid of toxic relationships. Just pick up on the red flags, don't be afraid to notice them and go after them. Take as long as you need, but at least give yourself that self-love that you deserve. So this was kind of a more serious video. Next time we'll do a more fun one. I like to go back and forth, as you know. But remember, guys, you are worthy of love. You are worthy of the best kinds of relationships and connections, and don't deprive yourself of that. Until next time, lovely humans.